Scott Hansen, Managing Director of Meat Livestock Australia. Scott, we've just finished the 2012 AGM. How did you gauge the mood of the members this year in terms of the discussion and the dialogue today?
Obviously, a couple of key points came out from the floor today. The first of which is, the industry is really at a bit of a crunch point in terms of their returns and their profitability. Profitability was a key theme throughout the discussions through the whole of today. And I think we all have to be conscious of that fact and the fact that there's a lot of work that needs to be done to help ensure that producers are on a firmer footing with regards to their profitability. But I guess the second theme that sort of came out was an applause or a congratulations on the refocus on our core basics. Certainly we had a number of speakers from the floor who commented on MLA's focus now on its R&D investments and its marketing investments, and the benefit they saw from us staying really laser-like in trying to produce marketing activities to grow demand and to ensure that we're working with researchers across the company to create opportunities for productivity and sustainability improvements.
So it's 12 months now since the company, producer company, has moved into this more focused role back on its core business. How effective do you think that's been in terms of achieving the aims that you originally set out to organise last year?
Yeah. Look, I think we're certainly on the right track with our journey, and our journey around focusing laser-like around R&D investments to create opportunities for productivity improvements as well as sustainability improvements. Our investments in market access, and a big focus in the discussions today have been around the necessity for really strong market access activities. Access to these global markets are critical to ensure we've got the competition and the potential to tap into this emerging middle class in developing markets. So we're on the right track, and we've had that acknowledged today by the stakeholders. There's still room and scope for us to continue to improve our efficiency and effectiveness in that delivery, and that's where we're going to be focusing over this next 12 months.
One of the new points you raised today that the people wouldn't have heard of previously was a review of retail market share held by producers, and I understand this came as a response of calls from the industry at earlier AGMs. What were some of the findings that have been found in the early stages of this review, and what motivated MLA to take part in this process?
Yeah, well, I guess we're always looking for what information and what dashboard of annual figures that we can produce to help the industry keep a track of the gauge of its health. And there's a key set of metrics that are really important to this industry. They're everything from the strength of the Australian dollar and where that sits, our domestic consumption figures, our export values, cost of production figures that are produced from ABARES and the Australian government, and one that we thought was an important addition to that suite of tools is this producer share of the retail dollar. Now, the figure in itself is probably less as important as the trend in that figure over time. And so today we've sort of released the figures for 2011 and 12, which show that 36.6% of the consumer retail dollar is flowing back to on-farm. It shows that we compared it today to the figures for 2003, the last annual general meeting we had in WA, where the figure was at 30%. But obviously, again, the figure in itself is probably less as important as the trend in that figure to tell the story of what's happening in that relationship between farm gate prices and the prices that consumers are paying.
Lastly, will we consider that figure, 36% to be a pass mark in terms of securing an appropriate share of the retail dollar back in the production sector?
Yeah, and I think it's going to be difficult to try to set where we think pass or foul marks are. Again, the trend in that figure is going to be important for us to monitor and try to understand why it might move. Whether it's additional costs imposed post-farm gate in our processing sector, in our transport sector, in our retail sector, that might erode that figure over time, or whether it's in fact consumers starting to pay for the benefits they see in the beef and lamb that's being produced by our producers that help it grow over time. So it's going to be really looking at that trend and what's moving and understanding why that we think will give us a new powerful tool for our investment strategies, as well as allowing producers to add it to the suite of other measurements that they have to get a gauge as to the health of the industry.
Scott Hansen, thanks for joining Beef Central.
Thanks, John.